What makes people grieve differently? Come with me as I share what I've learned from others and from my own life experiences along the way. Grief is a universal human experience, yet it's incredibly personal and varies greatly from person to person. Our unique life experiences, relationships, and even cultural backgrounds play a significant role in shaping how we grieve. It's essential to acknowledge there's no one-size-fits-all approach to understanding grief. Many people think grief happens in a straight line, but that's just not really true. You might know the 5 stages or have heard of the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And while these stages can help us understand grief a little better, people often feel many emotions at once, and the stages don't always happen in order. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly where you are in the process, and those stages can repeat over and over again. This linear model can be misleading, as it implies that grief is a journey with a clear beginning, middle, and end. In reality, grief really can be a long, winding road with many twists and turns along the way. It's not uncommon for people to feel like they're making progress only to be hit with this wave of emotion that sets them back. Things like birthdays and anniversaries, places, songs, even smells can trigger these emotions and thoughts, taking us back to the loss that we've experienced. The complexity of grief is also influenced by various factors, including personality, the relationship to maybe the one who has passed, different types of loss, cultural norms. For instance, someone with a more introverted personality might choose to grieve in isolation. They just don't have much to share. While an extroverted person might seek out more active and social ways of coping with their pain. Maybe they dive more into work. Maybe they become more creative. The grief experienced after losing a parent or a spouse or a child can be very different than that experienced after losing a friend. Relationships just aren't the same. Cultural norms play an important role, and the expectations can also shape how we grieve, with some cultures emphasizing public displays of grief. It's expected, while others encourage more private expressions of emotions. Another complexity that is often overlooked or goes unnoticed until emotions begin to overflow into everyday life are the losses that go ungrieved. Dr. Norman Wright, one of my favorite writers, addresses such losses in a blog he once wrote entitled "The Losses We Haven't Grieved." Dr. Wright points out that we sometimes deny, minimize, or even ignore losses in a way to try to protect ourselves. I'm placing the link down below in the description, so if you would like to read this blog or more blogs from Dr. Wright and more of his information on grieving. He really is one of the leading experts on grief. And so, with that said, some communities have special rituals and traditions to help people grieve. For instance, certain cultures, they have established mourning periods. And during that time, people follow specific customs or wear particular clothing. And while these traditions can offer comfort and structure, sometimes they can also create pressure if they don't align with how the person wants to grieve personally. Again, not all losses are the same, and they impact how different people grieve. One example to illustrate the diversity of grief responses is my own story. It wasn't until I was well into my adulthood that I was ready to grieve the losses of my childhood. And so looking back, I could see how the physical and sexual abuse I experienced as a child robbed me of a sense of innocence and simplicity of life. While there were times I felt stuck in my grief and unable to move forward, God placed the right people in my life to aid me in my healing and to move onward. It was in my grieving that I truly learned what Satan meant for evil, God meant for good. And believe me, God used those events to grow me emotionally and spiritually. I believe my story helps to highlight the importance of empathy and understanding in supporting someone through their grief or through the grieving process. It's crucial to recognize that everyone's grief journey is unique and to approach each person with a sense of compassion and patience. As followers of Christ, we're called to walk with others and to serve as encouragers, demonstrating God's love. Reflecting on these complexities, it becomes clear, I think, that supporting each other through grief requires a better understanding of each individual's experience. We do that by listening, making ourselves present. And we do it by acknowledging the very nature of grief itself. We can foster a more supportive and empathetic environment for those who are grieving when we do so. I want to share one last thing with you before we wrap up. I had a client once who suffered from PTSD, and he suffered greatly. There was a lot of grief in his life. And in his sharing, he shared a wonderful song with me entitled Scars. I'd never heard it before, and it's by the group I Am They. You may know it. I'll include the YouTube link in the description below to that song, to that video. But the song provided an outlet for my client, and I understand why. The words and music helped him to identify with his grief. I wanted to share just part of the lyrics in the chorus with you. Waking up to a new sunrise, looking back from the other side, I can see now with open eyes, darkest water and deepest pain. I wouldn't trade it for anything, 'cause my brokenness brought me to you, and these wounds are a story you'll use. How true. Here's more from that song. So I'm thankful for the scars, 'cause without them, I wouldn't know your heart. I wouldn't know you, Lord. And I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful for the scars. I can see how you delivered me. In your hands and in your feet, the wounds, I found my victory. What a great song. As we close, it's essential to recognize that grief is a highly individualized experience influenced by many factors. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. And it's crucial that we support each other through this process. Listen, if you've experienced grief, and I'm sure you have, I'd love to hear about your journey in the comments below. I hope that you'll take a moment to share. And for those seeking additional support, be sure to check out my other YouTube videos on coping with grief and loss. You can do so at Just Thinking Rod West. You can also find us at Christ-Centered Solutions on YouTube. Be sure to visit our website for more help. You can find us at www.christcenteredsolutions.org. Be blessed.